So, is buying a business like being the founder of a $1 billion enterprise? Hey there, everyone. It's David Barnett from davidcbarnett.com, the blog site, YouTube channel, iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, Spotify podcast, where I talk about buying, selling, financing, and managing small and medium-sized businesses. I'm joining you today from my hotel room in Fort Lauderdale. And for those of you who are on my email list, you will know that I've been down here for a couple of different reasons. But one of the things that I've been doing is I've been attending the annual conference for a franchise chain called Garage Kings. And we just had a guest speaker who is the person who created the Ugg boots brand. And so for those of you who aren't familiar, Ugg are sheepskin boots. And his name is Brian Smith. This is his book, Birth of a Brand. And he gave a great talk for about an hour where he shared his story about how he conceived of the idea for the company. And he didn't invent the boot. They're a common boot that's been around forever in Australia, but he's the one who thought to bring it and make it available in North America, and California is where he started, with the surfer culture, in fact. And so what was interesting about his story, and it relates very closely to some of the stuff that I talk about in my Business Buyer Advantage online course, is that when he started this business, he had this vision, he had a goal, he thought he knew what he was going to be able to achieve. And in the first year that he was selling the Ugg boots in California, he sold fewer than 30 pair. Okay. And then in year number 2, he sold about $10,000 worth. And in year number 3, he sold about $20,000 worth. By the time he got to year number 6, he had actually succeeded in growing the business to the point where he didn't have enough operating capital to purchase his inventory from Australia to bring it in, because of course in those days he was trying to sell through retailers, and so he would have to pay suppliers in Australia to have the boots shipped to North America, and then he would have to ship the goods to his retailers and then wait 30, 60, 90, 120 days in order for the money to come in. So a very capital intensive business. In year 6, he ended up bringing on other partners and in fact ended up with none of the equity in the business. So he effectively sold his business with a door being left open. I won't give away the secret because you really should read the book. It's a great story. He left the door open a little bit for him to get back in as an equity owner. But here's the thing. In that 6th year, when the investors took over the business to provide the operating capital, he became the salesman for the company. And so he would go out and he would talk with the different retail partners about buying these boots to put it for sale in their stores. And when he got back from his first sales trip, there was an envelope waiting for him in the office, and he opened it up, and there was a check for $5,000. So this is his 6th year. He's now no longer the owner of the company. He's working as a salesman for the company. That commission check was the first time he ever took money out of the business. So for 6 years of pursuing his vision, building, trying to create new opportunities for the shoe brand, trying to find new retailers who are willing to sell the product, he was never able to take any money out of the business. And then finally, in doing work as a salesperson, once there were other owners, he was able to get the first money out of the business. So that story really struck a chord with me. It resonated so well because oftentimes I'll talk with people about the difference between entrepreneurs and investors. And truly, people who are business buyers are investors. They are looking at, what do I have to pay in order to obtain a certain degree of cash flow from a business that I'm going to invest in? And they have to have a certain entrepreneurial streak, because you're going to become the owner and oftentimes the manager of the business. And so you have to have some kind of idea about how you're going to direct the business and what new things you may want to do over the course of time. But really, the risk profile of somebody who wants to start a business from scratch is entirely different from someone who realizes, hey, I've got kids, I've got a mortgage, I've got obligations. It makes far more sense to buy an existing business that's already profitable than for me to try to create something out of nothing. Now, Brian's Ugg boots business eventually ended up back in his hands. He became the owner again, and he in turn sold it many years later. And at that point, it was doing about $1 billion a year in sales. So it certainly took off with phenomenal success, but the amount of time and effort and the journey that it really took to achieve that success is something that most people would never want to do. And this is one of the reasons why such a high percentage of new business startups end up failing, because people would get to the end of that first year just like he did, where he sold 28 pairs of boots, and they would just quit. They wouldn't want to keep going. And throughout those first 6 years that he was trying to build this business, he was always having to take other jobs in order to pay for his living expenses, right? And so the dedication and the journey and all this kind of stuff, it's a heroic story that's very inspirational. And I haven't read the book, but I'm going to. He autographed it for me. It's an inspirational journey, but it's probably not a realistic journey for the vast majority of people who want to become a business owner. And so it was a lot of fun to hear the story, but at the end of it, I just walked away and I wanted to record this video because I thought, wow, this just reinforces my mission in helping people get out there who need to have an income and want to be business owners to successfully undertake the project of finding, negotiating for, financing, and acquiring a small and medium-sized business that's going to deliver a level of income that they need to support their family and achieve their financial goals, and something that's going to put money in their pocket right away so they don't have to wait for 6 years to get the first money out of their business. Anyway, if you want to buy a business, you should head on over to businessbuyeradvantage.com, sign up for my online course. It's only a few $100s. It's not going to break the bank, but it will teach you in about 10 hours of video tutorials, as well as a workbook and audios and everything that you can follow along, the entire process from start to finish of how to actually go about doing this. And then you can decide if that's the path for you. And if you need any extra help from me, I have my group coaching program that follows on after that. And so with that, from Fort Lauderdale, it's beautiful weather down here. I want to say see you later, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.